Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, body cams in prison. Also, API misleads on expanding Medicaid. And Republicans long for the 1950s.
Did anyone see you turn that money over to him?
I did. And that's not all I saw in here, is it, Alex?
Frida, shut up. You're drinking too much.
And talking too much?
Yeah, the good old 50s. Shut up, Frida. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by Susan Britt, research guru extraordinaire, and Josh Moon, columnist at APR and investigative reporter. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, guys.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome, Susan.
Thank you.
Great to see y'all.
Glad to be here.
This past week, the Alabama Policy Institute, a right-wing think tank here in Alabama, put out their opposition to expanding Medicaid. Now, the reason they put out their opposition to expanding Medicaid is simply because they know that every reasonable leader in this state understands that we are losing millions and billions of dollars by not expanding Medicaid, and we are abandoning the people in this state, the working families, the working poors, and the neediest in our state, for nothing more than ideology. Josh, I'm sure you looked at their opposition and probably did what I did and went, liar, liar, pants on fire. What do you think?
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of stretches that were made in that thing to try to arrive at a purely political point, I would say, which is something for a nonpartisan group, a nonprofit that's supposed to stay bipartisan in things. And but yeah, listen, you look around. It's what kills me often about this, and it kind of is the same way with gambling. We pretend as though we're this island nation off by itself somewhere, and that no one else with our similar circumstances has tried this. Which is not the case. Louisiana, Arkansas, all these different places have tried. I believe more than 40 at this point. More than 40 states in the country have expanded Medicaid, and all of them do not regret doing so. Okay, they have all experienced upticks. At the exact opposite of what they're claiming, upticks in workforce participation rates, not to mention the businesses that are affected by this have experienced a lessening of sick days from workers. They have workers who have more opportunities to do things because they're not sick all the time, and they're getting minor illnesses treated because they can actually go to the doctor. You have billions of influx into their communities because they're not losing rural hospitals as we are.
Yeah.
I believe we're about to lose another one here in the next few weeks. So yeah, man, I don't think the stats are on your side unless you make them up.
I mean,
Right.
Susan, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, the federal government covers 90% of this. Alabama has lost $4 billion by not taking the federal government up on this. It's ridiculous when, $4 billion influx of money into the state could do so much for unemployment. It could do so much, as Josh says, with healthcare. It could, with the surrounding businesses around the rural hospitals and stuff like that. I mean, what API is doing is they're basing what they're saying on the broken Arkansas model. Now, what they did was a private-public thing, and it doesn't really work. But you look at the other states, Louisiana, Kentucky, some of the other ones that Josh mentioned, it is a thriving part of their state.
Yeah, and not all of the public-private expansions have been terrible.
No.
Arkansas just had a flawed model that they used.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that just appalled me is they inferred, in very straightforward terms, that if we gave these people an opportunity to have health care, they would be lazy and not go to work.
I loved that one. That was my favorite.
I mean, Josh, they always look, and you know who the heck they're talking about. Oh, they're lazy. They just won't show up for work now that they're healthy. Right? I mean, come on.
It's a, man, I don't understand why. Well, I understand why some people attack, the minority, the overwhelming minority of folks out there, because they're trying to score political points or whatever. What I've always been troubled by are the people who follow along with it and are misled by it.
Yeah.
Because it just, it's the same with the welfare talk or whatever. You hear the stories of the welfare queen, that became popular during Ronald Reagan's term in office. And, these stories of people making, thousands and thousands of dollars off the welfare system. And it's just, maybe there's a person out there doing this, but it's kind of like the illegal immigrant voters in Georgia. You're 20 out of 8.2 million, while we're serving a large portion of our society that desperately needs help. And, we talk about all these great economic impacts of expanding Medicaid. How about just the fact that we're going to help a whole hell of a lot of people that need help, man?
And how about those people that are working? Like, for instance, Walmart has how to apply for Medicaid in their handbook because they don't provide insurance and they don't give enough of a living wage for people to afford insurance. They're caught in that gap. And we're talking about working people here.
And the money's there. There's easy ways of getting that money.
Yes.
There's a number of ways to get the money. The thing is...
But you have to work at it, Bill.
When you ignore a working mom with 2 children and you turn around and tell me you're pro-female and you're pro-life, you're just lying to yourself because you're not. I want to move on to this one next thing. There was a national survey that came out, and it's just startling that the culture wars in education, and this was revealed by nearly 2/3 of the schools in the United States, is costing school districts billions of dollars in lawsuits and in implementation of programs that discriminate, and it's causing hate within the community that these teachers and educators have never seen before, Susan.
It has. It's because they estimated that the 2023-24 school year cost $3.2 billion in trying to ban books in libraries and stuff like that. Meanwhile, educators are coming under threat of violence. They're coming, the communities there's a lack of trust between educators and the communities now. It's causing all of this division once again that is not necessary.
Right. And Josh, just here in Alabama, we've got educators leaving the state because they say they cannot work without academic freedom and under the rules that the lawmakers have made that have nothing to do with education. They have everything to do with censorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And who could blame them? I mean, you're vilified teachers. And what kills me about this whole process is this idea that these teachers are somehow these nefarious actors that you don't know, that are sliding in and trying to be, trying to introduce Marxism or fascism or whatever that they're claiming about this stuff. We all know these people. We see them every day. We go, they're at your church, at your grocery store. You know who your kids' teachers are. And everybody thought, well, not my teacher, but other teachers. No, these are everybody. This is who they're talking about. They vilified these poor folks that, in one breath, they want to arm them to fight off gunmen coming in. And in the next breath, they're talking about how they're destroying your children through fascism and Marxism and porn. Well, it's just the stupidest stuff I've ever heard.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Fascism, Marxism, and porn. All right.
Let's not forget sex changes.
There's 3 things that go together. You're watching The V. We'll be right back.
Speed is one of the biggest factors in a fatal car crash. Your car stops, but your body does not stop at the same time. Your body keeps going, and that could be running into your seatbelt, that could be hitting the airbag, something has to stop it, and unfortunately it's something very hard.
There have been times that we've come upon accidents where if people weren't speeding, they'd probably still be alive today. is truly dangerous and it puts everybody at risk.
There's just no point to it.
This kind of stuff has got to stop.
Your home is your most valuable asset. But what if someone tried to steal it from you? Property fraud is one of the fastest growing areas of fraud in the country today.
As a district attorney, I've seen firsthand the devastating effects of property fraud. That's why I'm proud to support the Montgomery County Probate Court's REACT program.
REACT is designed to protect your property and to give you peace of mind. By signing up, you'll receive an email notification if a document is filed against your property.
This program is a game changer. It has the potential to prevent fraud and protect countless homeowners throughout Montgomery County.
So don't wait. Sign up for REACT today and protect your home.
Protect your home with REACT. Sign up today.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. This past week, Montgomery Circuit Judge James Anderson appointed a mediator to try to see if they can resolve the issue with the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission. Josh, you wrote about it. You talked to the folks. You were at the meetings. You know more about this than probably anybody in the state. Judge Anderson has moved. Will this move mean anything?
You hesitate to say yes because nothing has moved so far. But I would have to say that former Judge Eugene Reese, who has been appointed the mediator in this, I think is going to be respected by everybody involved, by all the attorneys, and I think he'll try to move this thing forward. I don't know. If you look at it. It appears as if there's just one overriding problem in this, which is they failed to follow the Alabama Administrative Procedures Act in establishing a licensing process. And I don't know how you get around that fact without simply going back and implementing a process that follows our laws and make sure that we follow the law. I don't know how you do it, and just basically starting over. Really.
And what I don't understand, and either one of you jump in on this, how in the world are these lawyers at AMCC and the director at AMCC still employed? Because I guarantee you, if you work for the Alabama Political Reporter or this television show, your butt would have been fired months ago, if not years ago. I mean, who is in the pocket of whom so you get to keep a job when you screw it up so eternally wrong?
It makes no sense to me at all. I can't define it. I can't figure it out either. I mean, that's a question that's on everybody's mind right now, because it makes no sense that they've still got these people who are making a stinking fortune off of the state. And I'm talking about the attorneys there that the state did not budget for when we started this process.
Well, I mean, these people get 6-figure salaries, Josh, to sit up there and do nothing but twiddle their thumbs, sit on their...
Yeah, well, I think that, I could let go of the original screw up. Okay, I mean, I could let go of that. Say somebody messed up, they didn't follow the law, and that was a screw up. What I can't get past is the insistence that they continue not to follow the law.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what I don't understand is, why are you fighting? If you've been presented with this and it's pretty clear what's going on, why are you fighting it so hard?
Well, what I don't understand, and look, we understand that government has a lot of flaws in it. What I do not understand is why the commissioners have the right, have the ability, the power to fire people. Why these commissioners have not fired a single person. I mean, my old motto used to be, firings will continue until morale improves, because you cannot have leadership in an organization who is so damn incompetent that they can't get it. They can't not break the law.
Well, we need a leader here, somebody. I mean, they made a mistake. It's called a do-over. from city slickers. It's a do-over. Go back and start the process again instead of kicking and fighting against what you know was illegal when it happened.
They just don't want to do the right thing, Josh. They never have, and they will continue to do this nonsense until somebody gets fired. That's just the way this works in the real world.
I mean, I think you're probably right. They've gotten themselves into such a bind at this point on the thing, where if they would go back and fix it, they're gonna face lawsuits from the companies that they've already awarded licenses to. There's already a lawsuit out there by one of the biggest companies in the country, Verano, that says they didn't have the right to revoke the license in the first place, and there's still some legal question about that. So I just, you're right. What they need to do is get somebody, and that's the other thing about this is they started out with just a couple of lawyers, and now there's a whole table full of them. You go to this thing, and so I mean, they've tried to get more lawyers in to fix it, and I don't think we're getting anywhere. And listen, the problem is they're facing people who are really, really smart on the other side of these lawsuits, who are really good lawyers, and they have the law on their side in this particular case.
And the other side of it is they aren't facing anybody smart over at AMCC that's running the show anymore. I used to think some of these people were brilliant. Not so much anymore. Hey, just a real quick, this group has brought this to our attention. It's a dang fine idea.
I love it.
They talk about, for a very small amount of money, the state could supply body cams to every correctional officer in every state prison in Alabama, and then we would have true accountability.
We would. I think they've got, 574 signatures already on this petition. I mean, you think about when we had the situation with the Walker County Sheriff's Department with Tony Mitchell, where they put a prisoner. Now, I realize this is a sheriff's department, but I don't have any problem with those body cams either. But if you think a situation like that, where they put the guy in the freezer, he was, he ended up dying. They laid him in the floor. We saw that from the CCTV. We would actually know what happened if the body cam footage was available.
And we know, Josh, that this works. There have been studies that show that it works, and it just makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I mean, whenever people know that they're being watched, they typically have a better attitude about things, and they're more careful with how they do stuff.
Sure.
And I know a lot of police officers who I've talked to, especially after the Decatur incident and the shooting of Stephen Perkins in Decatur, and a lot of police officers who I spoke with said, "Listen, body cameras protect us as well. There are a lot of claims made against police officers at traffic stops in different places. And these things protect us a lot of times. Matter of fact, is that more often than not, way more often than not, these things protect us.
Well, not only will it stop some of the violence, it'll also stop some of the drugs that are going on, because if those officers know that they're on camera, they're not going to be doing the drug deals in the back.
We're going to leave it right there. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics.
My personal biggest pet peeve is kids who are not properly restrained, whether that be in a booster seat, a car seat, or even a simple seatbelt. Kids, they become projectiles, and it's terrifying.
It absolutely breaks my heart to know that something so innocent could be punished so severely.
Your children rely on you to be that person that says, no, you need to put your seatbelt on.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. A survey just released by the Public Religion Research Institute, very, very fine group that does significant research and polling, released a poll that said that over 65% of Republicans surveyed said that the 1950s was the greatest time in America, opposed to some 30% of Republicans and even fewer, Democrats, about 30-something% Democrats and even fewer independence agreed with that statement. And I started thinking, Susan, maybe this is a thing. Do we just have people that are unhappy in the times that they live? I remember, friends of mine that were in Iran when Iran fell to the Ayatollah, and they would describe.
I had a family member there.
They would describe Lebanon, Beirut, these places over in the Middle East as just paradises, and all of a sudden they're under oppressive regimes. And we see a lot of that now around the Taliban and these people. And those are people who are not happy in the times that they live. They want to go back to another time. I just don't understand why someone would be nostalgic about the 50s, especially if you're a woman or if you're Black.
Well, I think they spent too much time in their childhood watching TV Land. Okay, Leave It to Beaver doesn't exist. Mr. Ed, the talking horse, doesn't exist.
Yes, he does.
The horse exists, but the man can't. He can't talk. With women, you were talking about stifling gender roles. We're talking about, husband's control over her finances, workplace discrimination, sexual harassment in the workplace that went on that nobody talked about. And then when you're talking about the Black community, we're talking about going back to Jim Crow segregation, systematic disenfranchisement. All of these things existed then that don't exist as much now. They still exist, but not as much now. I don't understand why they think it's just this is idealistic period of time. It wasn't.
Josh, we know that Perry Mason was gay, in fact, but nobody talked about it. And, but he was an icon of the 50s. And what is this nostalgia with the 50s?
I think a lot of people watch the Andy Griffith Show. And they believe that every town would be like Mayberry, where no one locks their doors. And I would encourage people, if you believe that, to go back and look at the crime rates. Go back and look at the crime rates in the 50s. They, for the most part, are significantly higher than they are today on average. Go back and look at the life expectancy rates. We're living a lot longer and we're a lot healthier these days as well. It's just, the only people who would really say that are white Christian males.
Yeah.
Because that was the heyday, I would say, for white Christian males. First of all, we were out of World War II, just left that behind. We had a top marginal tax rate of greater than 90% on incomes over, I believe, $100,000 or whatever. And so, listen, we were rolling in cash. The economy was great. We were lifting from the bottom. Everybody was getting free houses from that GI Bill. It was the greatest period of socialism in American history. Let's just be honest about that and say that right off the top. It was the greatest period of socialism in American history. And it created the middle class out of that. And so there was great economic success taking place because of things that they're currently fighting today, but not for everybody.
No.
Not if you were Black or Hispanic or a woman or of a different religion. Things weren't quite as great as they make it out to be, and that Make America Great Again kind of slogan.
Well, and that's what I said. I had some friends that were in Lebanon at the time. I had friends that were in Iran when it fell. And these were older friends of mine who came back and told horror stories of how they saw the life that they had built there be destroyed by religious zealotry. And the way that women are treated in those countries today is horrendous. And there are people that want to take this country and make it into a religious state, just like the Taliban has done, just like the Ayatollahs have done. Now, they might not put you in burqas, but they are definitely going to keep you barefoot and pregnant, or
they're already doing that,
or otherwise, because you're a childless cat lady, you would be a good person to keep the kids.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the nanny.
You're
at
the
my
nanny.
age,
right? Yeah, nanny. All right.
I'm actually the fun
bubby. How do you
bubby.
feel about that?
I'm actually the fun bubby.
You are the fun bubby. Anyway, just sort of, we would get to this kind of quick. It's just one of those things, On January 6th, 2021, the Congress was meeting together to certify Joe Biden as president of the United States, but there was a little glitch there. Republicans got together at the behest of Donald Trump and decided they would challenge the certification of these ballots. Every single congressional member in Alabama that's a Republican, with the exception of Richard Shelby, moved to not certify certain election results to try to help Donald Trump stay in office. Now, we are soon approaching another January 6th, and Barry Moore, Representative Barry Moore, was caught at a meeting the other day, and a reporter asked Mr. Moore, or Representative Moore, if he would certify the election if Donald Trump lost. He would not say whether he would or would not. My gut feeling is no, but they've made it much harder now. But Josh, do you think that's or Susan too, do you think that's a fair question, or is it just too late for the Republican Party to be honest?
Yeah. I mean, you're right on both counts. It's a fair question, and you know, I don't know that they're going to be honest about it. This is what they feel like they have to say for political expediency at this point, and you know, and to toe the Donald Trump line. And you know, I mean, Barry Moore may be a true believer for all I know, but you know, I think most of them, there'll probably be a handful of folks who won't certify the election, and that'll be fine. But as long as it gets done, they can kick and scream and act like the children that they are, as far, you know, forever.
And just to be,
but how can you be certain of something that hasn't happened yet?
Well, I
mean,
you can say whether you would certify or not.
Certainly, but I mean,
they always did in the past. They just started not doing that. But Katie Britt was not there at the time, and neither was Dale Strong. So those people were not part of that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We can't even tell who's going to win the election. It's so tight that nobody really knows. But you've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.